Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at Emolga with the Move Acrobatics in the Open Great League. And this Pokemon got a huge buff with this charge move now. Before it was running Aerial Ace, which is a really bad charge move for flying type Pokemon in general. And now with the addition of this new Move Acrobatics, you now have a nuke move on this Pokemon, which makes it really nice. Emolga itself is not as bulky, but the typing itself is very decent, as well as the charge move and fast move it has. It makes it like a core breaker for a lot of Pokemon in the meta, as you're going to be able to break apart both flying type Pokemon as well as fighting type Pokemon, which is going to be very important for this meta, as still of course the Medicham as well as the Noctowl are going to be available and pretty strong in this meta. But yeah, this team here itself is going to be a little bit more fun, because I kind of want to have more fun here, as you're going to run Emolga as well as our Buzzwole as well as our Quagsire. Quagsire going to be able to basically bait out any kind of flying type Pokemon, as you're going to still have now the move Stone Edge. You're going to be fine still against them, and this will allow you to have a great time with your Buzzwole later on. If you don't have a Buzzwole, you can use anything else. For example, a Toxic Rogue would work out pretty well, or a Medicham works out pretty well. I just want to use Buzzwole because I thought it was most likely one of the Pokemon that benefit quite a bit from the recent meta changes, and I'm definitely correct with this one, and Buzzwole was a lot of fun to play, so if you have a Buzzwole around, maybe try it out again. It definitely has some potential, as we saw one Acrobatics land here already. Also, if you enjoy the video, please leave a like on the video, helps out quite a bit. It's for free, same as subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. But now we can take a look at the matchup from Double versus the Buzzwole here, and this is actually a pretty bad matchup for Buzzwole, which is kind of wild. Double has enough bulk to survive those counters, which is kind of wild, as now you're going to be able to see Peter here at least. You're going to be able to try to knock them out here with this incoming lunge. We're going to be able to do exactly that, and we're going to see now the opponent going to Victini and now swapping out into a Scrafty, allowing us to go for the lunge. Yes, a superpower would be super effective, but I would rather go for the debuff because I expect them to shield anyway. And now we can go ahead, go into our Emolga here. We should be able to survive any foul play thanks to the debuff, and the Acrobatics is coming through here, going to hit them hard and going to boom, knock them out here. And you see now the Victini coming in. They can still go for one recreate, knocking out my Emolga, but I don't really care too much about it, as my Quagsire going to be able to finish up this game here. Horrific lead here. This is the worst possible lead that we could find, and also we're going to see now a Trevenant coming in. Trevenant is definitely something that is rare now. It's the only one that I have seen in 55 battles so far, but this actually is a Pokemon I kind of want to try out again, because I feel like Trevenant is highly underrated right now, because a lot of people just don't really want to play this on anymore. I think it's definitely very strong right now to play, so I have to see, maybe I'm going to make a video about Trevenant again as well. But here right now, we're going to be able to go ahead and go for some charge moves with our Quagsire. Going to be able to get the final sheet of the opponent as well and swap out into the Buzzwole here. Going to be able to now take the Seed Bomb. Does not do too much damage here, and in comes the Galarian Stunfisk. They're going to go straight for the Rock Slide because it's the only move that is going to be like neutral for them. So we will be able to go for the superpower here right now. This should be enough to knock them out, and we can say goodbye to that Galarian Stunfisk, and in comes an Obstagoon. Going to be amazing for us as the superpowers coming through here, going to knock them out as well, and Buzzwole is going to town here right now. We can go back into our Quagsire, and we didn't even need our Emolga this game, as this incoming Mud Bomb going to be enough to knock out the opponent. Well, I think they're forfeited here or something, because yeah, okay, we didn't really see the animation or anything, and this just took a little bit, but we were able to win this game. Next opponent, we're going to see the Deoxys defense in the lead. Not the lead that I want to see. Honestly, that's most likely one of the worst possible leads, but they go straight for the Psycho Boost for whatever reason. And now they're going to swap out most likely into a normal type, into the Lickitung. This is going to be okay for us. I'm still going to shield this move up here. I shouldn't have done that here, to be fair. I shouldn't have shielded this one up. But yeah, the matchup against Lickitung is also kind of awkward, because I think they actually would be able to win this in the 2-shield if they wanted to. But they don't want to here, and I will be able to hit at least one charge move here. In comes now the Deoxys. I tried to see Peter here with my lunge. Didn't work out so well here at least, but I'm going to be able to still hit the charge move. They actually still go for the move, never mind. They just waited and didn't want to go for the Steam Peter for whatever reason. But this will allow me now to have the Emolga against the Dragonair. And I make a mistake here. I should have baited first, because the opponent going to have Core Shield if they have 2 shields left. And also I make a mistake here. Go for the Mud Bomb straight away, which is definitely a decent move, but I thought they didn't have as much energy stored from the Emolga matchup yet, that I should be able to go for 5 fast moves afterwards here in order to still get to another Mud Bomb. I wanted to overform a little bit just in case I let it go, and turns out they're going to CMP tie with me, which now going to cause us definitely to lose this battle. I don't think I had a chance of really winning this here anyway, like I don't think there was anything I could have done, but still, could have played it a little bit differently and maybe had a chance, I'm not sure. We see another Deoxys defense in the lead. Very common Pokemon right now. There's also a team that I'm going to most likely showcase tomorrow, something that I played as well with Deoxys defense, which was really decent. This Pokemon itself, as said already in my top 10 Pokemon to build for this season video as well, I already said that the Deoxys will be able to have like a lot more play this season, and it's going to definitely be way better now. Same goes, by the way, for Buzzwole as well. I wanted to put it in there, but then I thought, yeah, okay, most likely the Deoxys is going to be a little bit more consistent. As well, of course, Medicham going to be still very strong this season. Like, some people were confused why I didn't put in Medicham in the top 10, but like I literally said before in the honorable mentions, that Medicham is still one of the best, if not the best Pokemon in the meta, but it didn't really change. Like, there was not a lot of change for the Medicham itself. But other Pokemon like Deoxys are now way more common and way better because they beat both Medicham as well as something like a Walrein, a Dugong, or also the Sandslash. In comes a Walrein again. That's going to be fine for us because we can go ahead and go for some lunge. And lunge going to be very nice here. Very nice to debuff the opponent's attack here. Buzzwole going to be able to get the shield from the opponent. At this point of time, they are actually in a range where I can just go ahead and farm them all the way down. I will be able to now knock them out and win this game. So, very nice there. The next opponent, let's take a look at who's coming up next. We're going to see here the Emolga against a Drifblim. Drifblim now has access to the move Mystical Fire, which makes it very decent. Here I make a huge mistake by not swapping out yet. I should have went straight ahead into my Quagsire, which had a way better matchup there. And here I'm now going to go ahead and go for the bait, which also didn't work out because they're not going to shield. So now the opponent's still going to be able to get to a move against the Quagsire, and we're not really in a decent spot here for us. So now we're going to go ahead, try to go for the bait first against the opponent because I expect them to shield anyway. And let's take a look what we're going to see here. We're going to see a shield coming up. That was at least a good bait. I tried to go for the Stone Edge, but I think Mystical Fire doesn't knock me out anyway. They're still running Icy Wind. Like, that's like 5-head to be fair, running Icy Wind instead of the new move because everybody expects you to run the new move. And now it's going to be a tough one. We're going to go ahead and go for one more fast move here so we can store 2 discharges, and we have to swap out into our Buzzwole now because Buzzwole has literally 0 play against the opponent's Drifblim. So we're going to be able to now go ahead, go for the nearly full farm down there and go now for the super power to try to knock out the opponent. Let's see what they're going to do. They're going to let this move go through. They can farm us down now. And now it's going to come down if I'm going to be able to go ahead and go for 3 discharges here because 1 will not be enough, as you can see here. The second one is coming through now. We have to hope that we can get to a third one as well. Let's see, we're going to be able to now shield up the move from the opponent. This is very beneficial for us because it just gave us 3 turns for no return for them. And we were actually able to still get to another charge move here, knocking out the opponent and winning us the game with a 1 HP in a dream. Very nice so far. Emolga is doing some pretty decent work here. We're going to see the Sableye in the lead. We're going to swap out immediately into our Quagsire, which will be able to tank one charge move from the opponent here. But actually I'm going to shield up the charge move anyway, and we see a Skarmory coming in. Maybe should have let this move go through them, but Skarmory going to be definitely something that I'm happy to get out of the way because you see already my Pokemon in the back there, my Buzzwole doesn't really like this Pokemon too much. So yeah, we're going to be able to now go ahead, let this move go through against the opponent. It's going to be a Sky Attack, which does a little bit less damage anyway than the Foul Play, so I guess that's going to be fine. We can go for the Mud Bomb against the opponent, whoever comes in there. Let's see, it's going to be the Sableye. They can knock me out here, but we can still do some damage against them. And we're going to put them at half of the health, as we will be able to reach out now with our Buzzwole. Going to be able to farm them all the way down here. As we shield up the move, it's going to be a Foul Play, sadly. In comes the Quagsire. And it's going to be a tricky one. But I can still go ahead and try to farm them down here and try to get some lunge damage onto them, trying to debuff the opponent's attack. Hopefully I can still survive this Stone Edge, and I can, which will allow me now to go for another lunge. Going to be able to debuff the opponent straight away here. Swap out into my Emolga. Now I have to hit both an Acrobatics as well as a Discharge still, so I have to overfarm it quite a bit. But I cannot really take another Mud Bomb after the Stone Edge doing so much damage, even though it was double debuffed, it would have one-shot me otherwise. But I will be able to go for the Acrobatics on the CMP tie, knocking them out here, and the Sableye can say goodbye as well, as this Discharge is going to knock them out here, and Emolga taking on like 2 Pokemon there again and sweeping the end game. Very nice Pokemon to have. Bad lead for us again. We're going to swap out into a Quagsire. They're going to go straight for a charge move here. And honestly, I think this was the game where I make a small mistake. Sure went straight for the charge move here, but I expected them to swap out. Now they're swapped out later on into their Azumarill, which is not really ideal for me. I overfarmed by a little bit too much there. I think I just wasted 8 energy, which is not really ideal. It's actually quite a bit. And I'm going to go ahead and go for the Mud Bomb. And now I'm not going to go for the Mud Bomb. I'm going to go for the Stone Edge. And Stone Edge is going to put them now into the range where I can farm them now afterwards. And because I lost the lead so hard, I want to realign. And I also want to get my shield back if they want to go back into the Pokemon that they just went to. So I'm going to go ahead and go into, go for the full farm down here. Going to be able to realign while losing 1 shield there. I will be able to get that shield back though from this opponent's Pokemon here, from the Sandslash. As they can farm me down, I can go ahead and go into my Buzzball. I'm going to shield this move up here, because it's going to do some pretty decent damage. Hindsight, I shouldn't have done that because they have a Medicham in the back. And Medicham has Ice Punch as well as Psychic. We have a Fighting type that's going to get one-shot by the Psychic. And we have a Flying type here, which definitely does not really want to get hit by an Ice Punch, I would guess. But actually, thanks to the debuff again from Buzzball, we're going to be able to take 2 of them, which we wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. And again, Buzzball is actually coming in clutch here. It's kind of the hidden hero just because of the debuffs that it can do against the opponent, which is really, really nice. We're going to go for the stylish play and go for the acrobatics because we can. And this is going to easily knock out the opponent. They can only farm us down for 1 move there, and we can now farm them down here with our Buzzball, as they can go still for 1 Ice Punch, but it does not do enough damage, not even close, and we will be able to win this game thanks to the debuff of Buzzball. Next opponent, very decent lead for us, going to be the Pelipper, and we're going to see the Registeel coming in. Here's like the thing with a Buzzball. I wouldn't have been able to one-shot them with a superpower there, I think. I'm not sure at least. Maybe I would have been able to. Maybe actually I would have been able to. Most likely I would have. But it's still, I'm going to be able to go ahead and go for 1 superpower now. And this is going to be able to get the shield from the opponent anyway. And we're going to get another shield by the opponent as they just go ahead and try to farm me all the way down. Fine for me actually, because I have Stone Edge on my Quagsire, so I don't really need to realign. And I only checked after this game, against a Pelipper, Quagsire Stone Edge from a Shadow variant does 93% damage, which means if you do some Mudshot damage beforehand, or like get a Thunder Shock in, you're going to be able to one-shot the opponent with that, which is completely insane, which I didn't expect because it's a non-step charge move, but still, Pelipper is not as bulky as, for example, Noctowl, allowing you now to do so much more damage against them, as they're going to get walled here completely by the Stunfisk from the opponent. But what we can do here right now is we can still go for 1 acrobatics because they're undercharge. Very smart play by the opponent, by the way. Like if you see that, very decent play for you. Definitely very, very smart to do that here. But we will still be able to go for the Mud Bomb in time, knocking out the opponent's Galarian Stunfisk before they can go for 1 charge move. Having now the Pelipper against us, they're going to forfeit already. I didn't know at this point of time that we would have most likely one-shot them actually with the Stone Edge. So yeah, that definitely was game over. What was also kind of game over is a lone Ninetales here. This Pokemon actually lost a little bit of potential, as far as I can see from like PvP Pokemon or whatever. I think it lost some ranks, but it's still a very strong Pokemon. It's still definitely manageable, but not if you like kind of get walled afterwards as well. Like against the Medicham here, I cannot really do that much with my Quagsire as well. And we also don't really have anything that has fast move pressure other than counter. And if counter is resisted, like for example in this scenario here, we don't have anything to really farm down Medicham. So we're going to be able to go ahead, go for 1 charge move against them here, knock them out, and swap out now into my Buzzball. Buzzball is the only thing that can really save me here right now. I would be able to most likely do a ton of damage against the Ninetales, as you can see here. Counter is really chunking away while the Powder Snow is not doing as much damage. But turns out they're going to have a Swampert in the back. And for me to win this game, I have to catch a move on my Emolga. And turns out that the opponent's Swampert most likely going to be able to just go ahead and go for 3 charge moves here before I would even have the chance to swap out. So as you're going to see here as well, I'm going to be able to go for another charge move, and actually they're going to let this move go through, but Emolga I can still not swap out now, and they basically perfectly throw before I would have been able to swap out. And yeah, this is going to be the game. There's nothing that I can do here. I wouldn't have even been able to get to a discharge anyway, but it's still okay. As you can take a look at the final game of today's video, going to be Golbat in the lead. That's going to be an interesting one as well, as we can go for 1 discharge here. Let's take a look at this one. We will be able to go ahead and get the shield from the opponent, but I think I misplayed this game quite a bit here. We're going to shield up the move because a Shadow Ball would easily one-shot us from this range, and they definitely were there. They're going to be able to catch a move on the Charger bug, which is really bad for us. As now I thought I can just go ahead, go into my Quagsire and go for the Mud Bomb and knock them out, because the opponent doesn't really have like too much pressure here. Extra is not going to do too much damage. But honestly, they're gonna go for another one here, and I thought, okay, that's like half of the opponent's health. I didn't really do anything like any damage with my charge move prior, but I think I'm going to be able to knock them out now. We are sadly just barely away from the point where we would have been able to knock them out with just farming them down here. So sadly, my opponent going to be able to still go ahead and go for a charge move or farm me down here. Let's take a look at this. We can still go for one Stone Edge, but they're going to be able to now go ahead, go for a charge move against the Emolga. I thought that was clearly just the Poison Fang. It was a Shadow Ball. Great play by them. And now you see I have a Boss Wall still in the back. They're going to be able to go into the Sandslash. Somehow we're able to farm me down here, which I don't know if it's actually how it's supposed to happen, but I can farm them down here, but there's nothing that I can really do with my Boss Wall now because we're double bad against those flying type charge moves or like in general fast moves there. It's going to be a tough game to still come back from. We try still our best, but you're going to lose in the end game here. So yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this one. Emolga is a lot of fun to play. I can highly recommend you this Pokemon. Otherwise, you're going to see on the screen here my recent video about Quagsire itself, which was really nice as well. And on the right side as well, you're going to see the top teams for this meta. If you're interested, definitely check those videos out, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.